Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be looking at Shiba Inu. This is going to be a higher time frame video. There will be a lower time frame video linked up above, so check that out if that's more what you're interested in. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so I've done this over on two charts because on MEXC, when we go to smaller time frames, we can't actually see these wave counts from further back here. So now what I want to do here is talk about this as a bigger structure here, and then we'll go into the internals of these legs. Now, what I'm looking for here is, based on the size of this retracement so far, it's very likely that this is a completed move into this high. So what I'm looking for is the potential that this is actually the completion of an A wave here. And what we are looking for is a deeper B wave. Now, the typical B wave retracement zone would be between this 50% and this 786. So that would be this 421 to this 0 to the 74 region. So need to be on the lookout here that if we do see this play to the downside, technically speaking, price can still move all the way down to the 786 area. So we need to just be aware of that. Now, some areas of interest with this would actually be this high point here, which would be looking at this as an SR flip into this area here of this 442 region. And then we also do have this area slightly lower down, this 377 and this 220 as potential target areas that align with a few things here. Now, I have used this channel in a predictive way here. What I've done is align these central moves here with the center of this channel and then try to project this out. This is because we don't have a low here. We do have where the chart starts, but it is not actually the beginning of this move. So there is some information which we don't have here. So looking at this in this way, what I'm trying to do is try and forecast a move to the downside. Now this would align with coming into this golden pocket area here, which would be this 205 to this 169 region. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these levels. If we do see price come back down here one more time in a three-wave move, that would align with one of our counts where we have a bigger WXY. Now, if we are looking for upside targets, now if we talked about coming into this 50%, what we'd be looking for as an upside target is our one-to-one would actually be this 183273 area. And then more likely, which would be a more probable target, or at least a minimum requirement of this C wave, would be this 17924 region as a possible target. So that would be looking to sweep these highs here, and that would be looking at as our minimum target. If we do, however, push up higher here, we do have the 854 and the 786 sitting in these regions, which this could also align with an additional or with some alternative targets. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of this and get into these internal counts. So the way that I'm currently looking at this structure is that if we are looking at this as a three-wave move to the downside, what I'm saying is that within here, what we could have is this whole move as a W, this is an X wave, and then now what we're looking for is the potential of this Y wave. Now this Y wave, what I'd like to see as a minimum would be this 29359 as a potential target. Now, if we are looking for this, however, we need to be aware that we could move all the way down to this 11714 as a possible one-to-one target. So anywhere between these ranges is technically possible. What I want to see here, if this is a Y wave, is to actually see an A, a B, and a C to the downside. So if we are talking about that Y wave potential, what I'm talking about as actually looking to play out is this is an A, B, and a C to the downside. Now, what we are looking for as a target here is potentially this one-to-one here of this 31278. Now, this would be based on coming actually up here towards this 0.618 region. We have, however, come into this typical rejection box already. So we've come into this 382 and we haven't quite hit this 50% level yet. This 50% sitting at this 88447, but we have come up into sort of a minimum requirement here for this. So if we do start to actually just move to the downside here, we could actually start to reject in a bigger C wave. There is, however, a way of counting this as a 5-wave move here, so we could still have a 5th wave to the downside, which would mean that this A is actually lower down here, and then we'd still be looking for this potential B wave up afterwards, and then that continuation to the downside. So what I'm looking for here is that if we just see 3 waves to the upside and we fail to break back above this 157862, we could still continue down in an additional C wave here, looking for these target areas. So some alternate areas which will be interesting to see if we push to the upside here would actually be the 786, which is sitting here at this 123104. that would align with actually looking to sweep some of these highs over here. So I would be keeping an eye on that level if we do see price move up into there. As well as that, you know, this golden pocket, which is sitting up here towards the zone of this 101.374, would align with coming back and looking to test some of this horizontal support higher up here. So would be very interested in keeping an eye on this level as well if we do move up into those zones. So like I was saying, with this A wave, there's potential that this A wave could be incomplete, where we could say this is 1, 2, 3. Now invalidation of this would come by crossing this 96,500. If we just look at this move, it is very deep. So typically speaking, our fourth wave would only come up towards this 50%. But this wave 2 was very shallow, so it would not be uncommon to get a deeper wave 4 here. And the way that this would make the most sense, given the current structure, is that either this is going to be a W, we're going to get a deeper X, and we get a Y, something like this. Or alternatively, what we could actually have here is something like this as a triangle, where what we get is this move actually develop as A into this high, B, C, D, and E, and then we look to break down for that 5-wave move. So that's going to be key here. If we develop this 5th wave to the downside here towards this 44051 to this 36006, this could align with that idea of coming down in an A wave. I wouldn't like to say that this would then complete this move, because I'd like to see this 0.618 get hit. But in reality, if we take the high point here of this 157,656, this would mean that we cannot extend anymore to the downside, and then this very well could have been a completed move into these lows. So we're going to have to be careful on this. I would be looking for a B wave up if we are looking at this as a 5-wave sequence, where we could look to reject off this orange box area, this 118053 to this 80200. Now that would be based off of arriving here in our typical 5th wave area. I'm not going to go over too much into these lower degree counts. We're going to do a separate video on that. What I'm looking for as well here is that there's the potential that we could actually start to see something like this play out. Now what this would be meaning is that the X wave here, where we're looking at this as W and we're looking for this yellow X wave over here, this X wave could actually still be playing out. So this whole move could still be this X wave. Now if that is the case, what we could actually see is we could start to see something like this. Now we did come down here to this 1.382. So what I'm looking out for here is that if this is a B wave down, what we could actually start to see is a 5-wave sequence to the upside. So if we do see this move actually develop into an impulsive move to the upside here, what I'm going to be keeping an eye on is a couple of levels. This 1-to-1 of the A wave over here would bring us into this 110181 region. So if we do move up into this zone, that we need to be careful of a truncation here. However, typically speaking, we get expanding flats more regularly than the running flat variation. So what I'm looking out for here is that potentially we could get a move up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looking to target up these higher areas here, this 180,391 level to this 133,006 region as a possible target, where we could then see price look to either reject from this side, where we actually get this as A, B, and C, or W, X, and Y. And then we'd be looking for that continuation down. The only way that my mind would change about seeing a 5-wave move up here is if we see 3 waves down and we hold support above this low, then potentially we could start arguing that we could be looking for a substantial low here, and we could be looking for a bigger move away from these levels. But until we actually get something like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 waves down, holding support above this level, then it becomes very hard to look at this in any kind of a bullish way here. Now, some alternate targets, if we do look to push up past this 180,391, what we could see is price could actually be pushed up towards this higher zone here, this 245,186 to this 157,656. So this is just an alternate way of trying to measure this C wave here. This would be based off of the inverse correlation to this B wave over here. So this is just another target that we could look to potentially come into if we are looking for the C wave up. But really we need to be careful with this move, because we are in that 4th wave rejection area. We could see this start to break down and look rather for the idea that we're actually going to see this 5th wave start to play out. So we need to be careful of that. Before we end the video, I just want to talk about having a look at this whole top area here as a range. What we can see is that price is actually below this point of control now, And what I'm interested to see is that if we continue to reject off of this level here of this 79405, we could actually start to see that idea of that bigger sell-off come into play here, where we actually look to come down deeper here and look to set some new lows. So that would be looking at that idea that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. And like I said, you know, if we do move past this 0.618 level, then we need to be careful, because this move could just actually be a corrective move completed to the downside. But if we don't do that, then I would still be looking for that potential of something like this playing out as a corrective structure. Now, if we are looking at that idea of this flat correction to the upside, what I would be very interested to see how this develops is that if we do start to get a bigger flat correction here, where we actually extend out a little bit, potentially what we could see is that this higher range here, this 245186, aligns with this value area high that we've got here. So we'll be keeping an eye on that if we do see price actually start to reverse to the upside. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know down below so that I can know if you guys are enjoying these videos. If you do, I will carry on making all these macro videos that we've got. We do have a whole playlist, so check them out if you haven't checked them out already. Everyone, have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.